from what they're saying here, DAZN have instructed MATCHROOM to make MUNGUIA versus BERLANGA next. MATCHROOM and GOLDENBOY reps met in LA to discuss the matchup. Hearn is confident of making the fight, expects offers to be made soon. Yep, as they're saying here, it's Puerto Rico versus Mexico, fan-friendly 168-pound clash. They're saying here the best that can be made on DAZN in the absence of Canelo Alvarez. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to go through the whole DAZN MATCHROOM GOLDENBOY roster. But it's definitely one of the best matchups. That can't be denied. Definitely. They're both the same age, both undefeated. You can go back to probably even before the fight I'm going to mention, but Wilfredo Gomez, Salvador Sanchez, absolute beast of a fight, and that was at featherweight. Puerto Rico versus Mexico, baby. That's real. You know, you can go Chavez versus Camacho, Chavez versus a few Puerto Ricans, Edwin Rosario.
Trinidad with De La Hoya, with Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito.
This is no smoke sport. They cover a lot of boxing. Will Oscar be an obstacle? Can he afford to be an obstacle? He more or less paraphrased he wasn't going to work with Eddie Hearn. Just send Eric Gomez or Robert Diaz in there to handle it, man. Let Oscar do what he's doing unless he's prepared to put the pettiness aside. It's a fight we need on DAZN. It is a fight we need on DAZN. You know, like he was talking about, he's having talks with David Benavidez. You know, Oscar's crazy. He was talking about how the PBC don't like Eddie Hearn. We know what the PBC think of you. And like, has his brain turned to mush? Does he not remember? He took out a lawsuit on the PBC. So what, you think the PBC love you after you pitched a lawsuit against them? And before that, there was the racist emails that were circulating through GOLDENBOY about Al Heyman, which Oscar didn't apologize for. Is this guy a nutter? I mean, come on, man. Like, anyway, Berlanga versus MUNGUIA is an excellent fight. And Berlanga actually put in one of his better performances in recent times against Quigley. And if he can continue the improvements before the first bell against MUNGUIA, it's an interesting fight. Because at the same time, MUNGUIA looked like a disaster waiting to happen at times against Derevyanchenko last time out. Late last year, Josh Kelly posted his best career win against Troy Williamson, winning the British light middleweight title. And this Saturday he takes on Gabriel Alberto Corzo. This is a Wasserman card, but it will be on DAZN. They normally broadcast on Channel 5. Corzo is 18-0, only 3 stoppages. He's Argentinian, so he could be very durable. Kelly can't afford no slip-ups. The other fight on that card I'm looking forward to is Steve Robinson and Frank Ignatius. It's a heavyweight clash. 2 British lads who I believe will come to fight and put on a show. Steve Robinson, he's 6-1-0, 4 inside the distance. Is Steve 6'7"? I didn't realize he was that tall. Frank Ignatius, he's 6'3". He was born in Austria. He lives in Dagenham. He's undefeated, 5-0 with 1 draw, only 1 inside the distance. If you get time to go over to Sporting Icons channel, he's got an interview with Franklin Ignatius. He's got Steve Robinson and Franklin Ignatius trading insults at the presser. All happens in Newcastle. I don't know if Troy Williamson, but he's there. Sporting Icons is talking to him. I haven't seen that interview. And there's a lot more press conference content that he's got for that event. I'll be watching it. It's on DAZN. I'm not sure if Frank Ignatius has the power to hold Steve Robinson off. I think he can outbox him. So I don't know which way to push with that one. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Not a big fan of watching Josh Kelly box. Hopefully, you know, under the tuition of Adam Booth, we can see less posing and some stiffer punches being thrown. I just don't enjoy watching the guy fight. I'll just keep it honest. Next Friday, to those who can get a stream outside the UK or the British boxing fans, there's boxing on Channel 5, terrestrial television. Lee McGregor versus Eric Robles Ayala for the IBO World Super Bantamweight title. Matty Harris, the improving heavyweight, 5-0. He takes on a European with a losing record with a name that is a lot to handle this time in the morning. Isaac Lowe's on the card, and Hearn Eubank, 17-0. He takes on Ishmael Ellis. That's next week, Friday, 21st of July. You see, Hearn Eubank isn't a massive puncher. He's trained by Adam Booth. But he's good to watch. And he's not a perfect fighter by any means. But he's good to watch. I don't know what it is with Josh Kelly, man. It's just ugly style. Shane Mosley caused a bit of a... I ain't really got a metaphor for it, but he said that Terence Crawford took a beating in sparring against Errol Spence, but Crawford has denied that they've ever sparred, and I don't know, maybe Shane's a little confused. I heard another video on Twitter, and they were talking about Errol Spence's teeth. Like when he fought Ugas, he got hit with that big shot, and he looked towards the ground and he thought his teeth was on the floor, but his gum shield came out. And he felt his teeth came out because apparently he's got new teeth after flipping over the Lambo. And they're saying that his jaw and his teeth that are not set correctly to bite down on the gum shield. And you have to wonder if Errol is really full ticket to take on a Terence Crawford. Glad he's taking the fight though. Let's not discourage him. Let's not encourage a pullout at this stage. Let's not do that. Derek Chisora says Joe Joyce is making a mistake going straight back into an immediate rematch with ZHANG. He doesn't believe the eye has healed. So that's around 5 months. Does he need longer to heal? Was Joyce rushed into the fight when it apparently looked like Frank Warren was trying to set up a fight for Fury to defend against Zhang, when at the time Joyce was undecided if he was going to take the rematch? Who would you blame in this situation? The promoter for almost forcing Joyce's hand, or would you blame Joyce and Salas for saying, well, if you're going to do that, we're going to have to pass on the fight because we have to be 100% right to take on a heavyweight of that caliber? I'd be interested in your opinions on who you think is in the wrong. Or is 5 months long enough for that injury to heal, do you believe, to go into a rematch with Zhang? The injury was pretty bad. Let me just throw this in there, food for thought, before you make your mind up. Where I think Derek is coming from is just because the swelling has gone down and the discoloration has gone and the eye looks normal, that doesn't mean it's healed. I mean, yeah, you can go about everyday life, but we have to make a distinction from everyday life from being a boxer. Daniel Dubois tore his ACL in the win against Kevin Lerena, where he was on the canvas 3 times. His trainer, Shane McGregor's dad, said he will need 6 months of recovery before he's back in the ring. Daniel debunked that and said he'll be back in the ring early 2023. McGuigan, I can't find a receipt, recently said, oh, Daniel's recovering from an ACL injury and all of a sudden USYK wants to fight. Well, it's a mandatory for a start, so we can't say that USYK cherry-picked him. Daniel's legs will be tested by USYK more severely than it would be against any, let's say 99.9 of the heavyweights out there. Let's keep that real. It's not like he's got someone standing right in front of him engaging in a phone booth fight. No. So when I listen to what Barry McGuigan and Derek are saying, remember these are ex-pros. Barry McGuigan is a former world champion. You can get away with the eye 5 months removed from the Zhang defeat if you're taking on a selected fringe heavyweight. You can get away with it. You can get away with the knee, the ACL tear, let's say 6-7 months. No, in all fairness, it's it will be about 8 months between the Kevin Lerena fight and the USYK fight for Daniel. But Daniel says it's okay. But yeah, if Daniel was taking on Trevor Bryan, movement would no longer be the factor it is like it is against USYK. You can get away with it. It's like what I was saying with Spence, with the carryover from the Lambo flip situation. Yeah, the teeth may not be aligned and his jaw might not be able to bite down on the gum shield. But you could perhaps get away with it against Ugas and Danny Garcia. No disrespect to them, they're world-class welters. But they're no Terence Crawfords. When you go up against the elite, you need to be in mental shape, physical shape, as much possible as you can be. Remember when David Haye made that comeback against Gergay and the other heavyweight, Mark Demore, and he blew them out early. But Tony Bellew, before the fight, he said, I know David Haye is not right. I know he's not right. I know his body won't hold up if he's forced to box in the way that he's accustomed to boxing when he was a healthy fighter. He won't hold up. And Tony was bang on the money.
done his homework on David A. Had him figured out. The Achilles went first fight, and in the second fight, punch resistance was just like...
Okay, the poll, 464 votes. It's a decent sample size. 74% thought that MATCHROOM would get the Eubank-Ben fight over Boxer getting the Eubank-Smith fight. 11 undecided. Ben Shalom, however, has pulled a big one on Eddie, bruh. He's pulled a big one, people. A big one. Eubank looks like he signed up. September the 2nd, O2 Arena. Okay, Smith is giving up the Northern Territory and coming to London, which I think would suit Eubank a little more. No more excuses. They're both signed up, people. Eubank, Smith too. It's a big fight. And it's going to be pay-per-view. I paid for the last one. I'm going to pay for this one too. Eddie's going to have to take the L. He's going to have to take, you have to take the L, Ed. You take the L. You take the L. The power struggle is getting serious now. What's going to happen between Riakporhe and Jai Opataya? Who's now signed to MATCHROOM. What's going to happen with that fight there? I just report the facts as they are. You know, Eddie has been the dominant guy, and people don't want you to say that. They want you to say that green is blue and blue is green. But I had a daddy in my life, and you know what I mean, I had a good mum. I don't have them issues. You know what I mean? That you know, that insecurity that a lot of people have. I don't have that. Like I was on Twitter and I was saying, oh, I'd love it if Daniel Dubois could chin USYK. Somebody replied and said, you'd have to question Joshua's boxing IQ if that happened. So, and he was a Joshua fan. I'm saying, so what if Daniel wins? And their outlook was, I don't want Daniel to win because it will make Joshua look bad. And I think they figured out that I support Joshua as well. So they're probably thinking I've got the same mindset. Most pathetic shit. Let Daniel have his accomplishment. He still hasn't accomplished nowhere near what Anthony Joshua has accomplished. He just managed to get a W over someone who AJ couldn't. The facts are, there's not enough L's on the top heavyweights records because they're not fighting enough. You know what I mean? You see, we wouldn't have to worry about that if Daniel chinned USYK. Let's say he chinned him and then he becomes champion. And then more than likely, we're going to get a big showdown between him and AJ in the next year or two. But in this climate, we can't guarantee scenarios like that. We just get what we get when they want to give. And that's that. No, I don't think like that, I'm afraid. Joshua's got his own lane. And if he couldn't beat USYK, it doesn't mean no one else can't or doesn't deserve to. I'm not in to see... The difference between me and a lot of people who support fighters is they have an entitlement. I don't have an entitlement. Eddie doesn't have an entitlement to run British boxing. Anthony Joshua doesn't have an entitlement. And I think this is where people get me fucked up and confused. I try not to do bitch shit in my life, man. Bottom line, I don't believe Daniel can beat USYK. He's got a puncher's chance at best. USYK is aging, and you never know. But I believe USYK will win. I will add, I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be a tougher fight than what a lot of people think. I think USYK might have a scare or two. And if Daniel can produce something that all professionals haven't been able to do against USYK, that's hold their own from 10 to 12 championship rounds, we could see something that we didn't expect. Yeah? That's what I believe. USYK, like, it's been interesting seeing him in Poland. His demeanor is different than it was in Saudi Arabia, than it was in London, than it was in a lot of the away territories that he's been forced to fight in. This wasn't the humble, less said is more type USYK. He was actually pretty arrogant. Rapping, beating his chest. He didn't do that with Joshua. Now, he's an out there character, you know, we know that. We saw him doing the dancing in Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. But that's regular USYK. He's a bit of an oddball. But the banging his chest and the rapping is a very assertive signal from one man to a next man standing next to you who you're going to fight in a ring. Look at the stare. It's only a brief stare, yeah? Very brief stare. But you can see the intent that he stares at Daniel Dubois with. He's trying to shake Dubois' resolve. Make no mistake about that. Make no mistake about that. All fighters of psychological warfare, most do. Whether it's very subtle or very blatant. And what we see here is very comfortable in Poland. It borders on the Ukraine. And that's as close as he could get the fight to home. And he's very comfortable in his surroundings.